So today we're going to do something a little bit new. I'm going to repair a board that I've never repaired before. And so I have a Mario Bros wide body, and I'm thinking about selling a bunch of my games, and this one doesn't power up anymore. It just gives you garbage on the screen. And I've never fixed a Mario or any Nintendo game before. And this is something that's important that you understand. Once you learn to fix games, it's not hard to fix a new game. It's terrifying at the beginning if you've just learning to fix a game. You're like, oh, I can't fix that. I've never fixed that before. But once you understand, these games are very similar. The architecture and the basic theories are. It's like fixing a car or plumbing. Once you know the basics and you can do one, you usually can adapt pretty easily to another. It does help though if you are confident. Believe it or not, the biggest thing is confidence. I believe. Obviously you have to have some skill, but like if you fix a game, like I started fixing centipedes. I just fixed like tons of centipedes before I even tried another game, and it built me the confidence once I understood what I'm looking at, and I feel confident. That confidence helped me pick up any other game that I wanted to fix. So I'm gonna start from the scratch. I have no idea what's wrong with this game, and I have no prior experience with this game. So this is what I'm gonna do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to find out, more than likely, it's probably a RAM problem. It's not a CPU. And I'll tell you right now, I've already just swapped the CPU just in case it was a CPU. And I've already checked the voltages. But we'll go through that again when we do the steps. But that didn't make a change. So usually it's the RAM. And that's one of the first things that I'm going to test is the RAM. So before I go to my workbench, I'm just going to get the RAM ranges because I don't know what they are. So how do we do that? MAME is our friend. MAME 64, list, XML, Mario. Or if you don't know what game it is, just put just start typing the name. And actually, I'm going to remove list XML. I'm just going to put Mario. And it will show you the games are. And here we go, Mario Brothers. That's what I want. So, use names 64, list XML this time, Mario. And we'll save it to a file, mario.xml. Now I'm going to type right, mario.xml. What I'm going to get from here, oops, I spelled XML wrong. So I put XLM, so I'm going to open that file. And all I really want from here, I can actually grab the ROM stuff, the ROM information from down here, and I probably might as well, since I'm going to check the ROMs. Probably, maybe, I don't know. You might want to go ahead and write down the ROMs and their, what their real names are, or what their ROM names are, what their offsets are, and how big they are. Okay, and just do that for all the ROMs that are in the main CPU section. All right. But what I actually want is the machine name, the source file. In this case, it's mario.cpp. Because I'm going to go to the MAME source code and find out, often when you find the source file, in the comments and notes, or actually in some of the markup of the code, you'll actually find the RAM ranges. And that's what I want. So mario.cpp. So let's go bring over, I got the MAME web page. I'm going to click here on Fork Me on GitHub. And I'm going to go to source, MAME, drivers, and I'm going to just add /mario.cpp. That was the file name that we got. If we look at here, here you go at the top of the file, it tells you the ROM ranges. Now this is just comments. If you look through the code, it will actually have more detail about, this map, says map this range to this range RAM, blah, blah, blah. But here it has some notes, so I'm just going to take it from here. 6,000 through 6FFF is RAM. Doesn't know what this is, but I already looked down here and it's some type of RAM. So we're just going to write that down there. 7,000 to 7FF, 7,400 to 77FF video RAM. Okay, so I'm going to have to test these ranges. So I'm going to write those down. All right. Now we're going to go down to the workshop and fire up the Fluke. But it's important you understand, you want to be able to grab the ROM information from MAME And I could also, if I already knew the driver name, I didn't have to do that list XML. I could just go here. In this case, I didn't know the driver name because I never played it before. But by looking at that XML file, you will get the driver name, which will tell you what file to look at on the web. Now, see, here's the ROM ranges too, right? So the same thing in there is in here. So if you already knew the driver name, you could just got here and got all that information. But if you don't know the driver name, go to the do that MAME64 list XML, the name of the game, pipe it to a file, or redirect it to a file and read the file to find that driver name. All right, let's head downstairs to the my workshop. So step one of fixing things is testing the voltage. So here we're going to test the voltage at 5 volts. Hopefully you can see that. I'll just sneak in here on this chip. We got 4.95, which is fine. Step 2 is testing the clock. In this case, it's 4 megahertz. Let's check the clock. So here we have, just make sure that I've got the right ground, and it is. And the clock is pin 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 4 megahertz. 3.99999. Step 3 is making sure the reset line is not stuck low. So, on the step of checking the reset and making sure it's not stuck low, I can't show you a video because I accidentally screwed up my recording. But trust me, it's nothing really exciting. It was not stuck low. Step 4 is checking the RAM ranges, in this case 6000 through 6FFF and 7000 through 3FF. Here we see the first RAM range is fine. And here we see the second is also fine. Now this is unexpected. I actually expected to see a RAM error, but there was none. So the next step would be step 5, testing the ROM ranges. However, now, after doing those tests, I went ahead and pressed down the sockets and things, and actually started working again. I'm thinking this socket is bad. I did initially have this braze kit in it, which really stretches the pins. This multi-game kit, and normally that would be fine. But these sockets are horrible. I've had issues with these sockets. They look really big and nice and beefy and strong. But these sockets right here, I've had the worst problem in my life with these sockets. I've dealt with them on Konami boards before, and they were just a nightmare. They look fine, and you just get weird issues. And I'm wondering if these pins on the braze kit just took it beyond, stretched it beyond its limits. And so I got a CPU that is. I've already tested the CPU. I bought the CPUs to make sure they worked, but I got this CPU which really pushes. It's got a lot of pressure out and it really pushes on those pins, and it works. So I think what I'm going to probably do is replace these socket and see what happens. I'm worried about these sockets too, because like I said, I've had issues with these sockets before, and just the horrible issues with them on Konami boards. So we'll see. So in this case, I went ahead and put the chip back in, took it out of the socket and put it back in the braze kit, and then put the whole thing back, the whole braze kit back in the game board's CPU socket, and everything worked. I really shoved it in there real good, and everything worked fine. So it must have come loose, or the socket over time kind of degraded. It looks like those are single wipe sockets, which explain why, because they only make put pressure on, or they only touch the pins on one side, and I don't know how much pressure they can really get doing that. But also it's over time it might have just gotten loose. But I do think there's an issue with the sockets, being that I actually had replaced it with different chips, and the chips that weren't really pushing out on the edges, did not work either. So I'm going to go ahead and, now that I know that's what it is, I'm going to go ahead and replace the socket and with a dual wipe socket, just so that it stays good. I've never had a problem with the dual wipe sockets and even those thick pins. In fact, they stick real nice. Those thick pins that the braze kit comes with stick really nice in dual wipe sockets. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Happy holidays.